It's the Duffin Up Podcast. Thank you, Brian. What is going on, Duff Daddies and Duff Mamas? We have on a very, very special guest for you this week. This man and I met down in Florida at a great TikTok golf tournament, and hit it off, became good friends, and since then just been keeping in touch. Been following him throughout his goals of becoming a professional golfer, and some people say he is the best looking man on the mini tours. Personally, I don't see it, but people are out there saying that. So we'll figure it out tonight, especially if you're watching on the YouTube. You will 100% see it yourself. We welcome on Nick Delfico. Nick, how are you doing tonight, man?
Nick. I am great, guys. Thank you for having me. This is an absolute pleasure for me.
Perfect, man. First question, and the first question is always the hardest question. How did you, a former swimmer, get into the game of golf?
Oh, man. Yeah, totally. So my dad always, got me into all these sports and stuff like that. So, when I was a kid, I was doing basketball, soccer. I got into swimming a little bit later. Actually, I was like maybe 10. So I was doing all these other sports after that. And then I kind of like rolled around into, and I was a big baseball guy. But I kind of rolled around into like modified when I was in 8th grade, modified baseball.
Gotcha.
So I had a bad experience with that as far as like getting enough playtime, and I don't know, I just didn't have a lot of fun that year on the school team. So I decided I was playing golf. Like I was kind of playing a little bit of golf. I kind of like, my dad gave me a set of clubs and we played every once in a while. It wasn't like I was playing much. And he was like, why don't we just try golf? And then I kind of just kept playing and I got a little bit obsessed with it. And then, I started playing on the high school team freshman year, and I was, number one on the team by my junior year. So I just kind of got obsessed with it.
Do you think your dad, now knowing that he gave you that set of clubs however many years ago, was like that he knew it was going to become something, or do you think it was just more of like a, hey, let's just go out and play, or here's an activity we could do together?
I don't really know. That's a good question, because he always had this group every Sunday that would go out and play. So like every Sunday morning they have like the third tee time at 5:30 in the morning. And he was like, you know what, I should, in baseball, he's not loving it. Like, let me get some golf clubs in his hands, and we'll see how it goes. And if not, like, I'll just get him back into baseball and whatever. Because he played college baseball, so that was his thing. So he knew a lot about baseball, and he was never the best golfer. He got down to like, I think, a 12 handicap at one point. But that's, he's not like nowhere near like professional. He was near professional baseball because he played college baseball. But I don't think he ever knew that it would become something for me, actually.
Not that there's anything wrong with the 12 handicap, ladies and gentlemen. Some podcasters are 12 handicaps, okay? Some
like, it's not near like college level stuff, right?
No, not even close. Not even close. Oh man. But no, that is that's a great story. I thought, Tim, you were just gonna go ahead and go the baseball route, and then me and Brian could have just taken the entire podcast off, and then you guys could have just talked baseball for the rest of the night. That would have been lovely. No,
right. I mean, I would love to talk baseball. I mean, the Red Sox have a tough lineup this year. They got ranked 28th out of 28th in the nation as far as lineups go. It's not looking great. But anyway, I'm more intrigued about. You said you got into swimming later in life. It feels like we went down the similar path. Definitely a swimmer. I find that like it helps with staying flexible, getting in shape, and just having the body style in order to have a flexible swing. I don't know if you agree with that. And how does your athletics, like with baseball and swimming, and you said you played soccer and everything like that, do you think that really helped you as far as getting into the game of golf and excelling at such a young age, from the get-go, from freshman year into junior year?
Yeah. So I think what I noticed with swimming the most actually is it actually helped my baseball a lot, because it got me a lot stronger. And at that point in your youth, right, you don't really like lift weights. You do like cross training or whatever. You might go to some classes a few times a week to like get some, movement stuff down, but like you're not really working your body out like, let's say a bodybuilder, power lifter, or like, training really hard for how everybody does nowadays, how every professional athlete does. So I noticed it right away in baseball. I was a lot more powerful when I was at bat, and even throwing, I was a lot faster. So then when I got into golf, I had a good baseball swing. I was always a pretty good baseball player. So then getting into golf, like I had a pretty natural swing, and it wasn't too hard to develop when I was like 13 or 14 or whatever it was that I really got into it. And so yeah, so the strength came, and then once I got my whole body synced up, because when I first started playing, I really only used my upper body. I didn't even use my hips. So like when I was 12 or 13, I was hitting 230 or whatever off the tee. I don't even know if that's good anymore for a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. But once I got my full body into it, I realized I could hit it further than most of the kids my age. So I would say it helps just all around, really, and kept me in good shape just for everything. So.
Definitely agree. It's I still do workouts that I learned in swim right now because it uses your entire body. It's phenomenal.
And another thing too with that, I just thought of it. It also helps the mental game a little bit because it keeps you so disciplined if you think about it. Because for me, for 12 years, I was just swimming for 2 hours a day, staring at the bottom of the pool, or like if I'm doing backstroke, I'm staring at the ceiling. You're not really like looking at anybody. It's not like running where you're looking forward. Swimming, you're looking straight down or you're looking to the side to breathe, right? Unless you're doing like breaststroke or butterfly, but most of the time you're doing freestyle, and any swimmer will tell you that. And so I guess like the mental side, I guess it helps a little bit. Although like in the beginning of golf, I definitely struggled with like getting angry and stuff like that, like most people do. But yeah, I would say like it helps me, just stay disciplined with the game and not, trying to be a little bit more patient with myself, I guess.
I love it. That's a great answer. You're only worrying about where the wall is and when to turn. That's about it. That's great. That's a great answer. I only wish that on the golf course, when you sweat, it would just wash off like it doesn't swim, because I sweat on the golf course and it is disgusting. So I'd much rather just let's play golf in the pool. Can we try to incorporate that?
I'll tell you what, if you go all the way in the deep end and you bring like a golf club with that would be kind of crazy training if you're trying to do like actually trying to swing underwater. I feel like that would be very, very difficult.
Might fix my slice though a little bit.
It might make me hook the ball just because I'm trying to come through way too hard.
That'd be a cool video, like just getting back in the water, because I haven't been back in the water for like since I quit. I quit when I was like 20, 21. I was 20, so I haven't been in the water for like 5 years. And
wow.
Yeah, I really like. Maybe I got in the lap pool once. I think I burned myself out. I think I did it for a few years too long, which is probably why I haven't been in the water. But doing that would be kind of cool. Be like, back to my roots a little bit. First time for everything, and I just throw a golf club in there as a joke. That'd be funny.
Nice little @credit Duffin up right there. That's all we got. That's all you got to do, bud. Hey, we're there. We're there. You don't want to see me in a bathing suit, but besides that, we're there.
If you develop some sort of like workout or something, and then all of a sudden you become the greatest golfer on the PGA Tour, that would be incredible. You would make millions from this water workout for golf. Like no one has even touched that market. That would be incredible. Let's be on to something.
It's speed training, but like to the nth degree. And speaking of speed training, Nick, I don't know if you do it or not, but some of the TikTok videos that I have seen just for speed training in general are the craziest things in the world, like what people do. Like, I don't know, for your like routine, is there a special, training regimen that you do just for either speed training, whether, or any other type of, if you're trying to make better contact with the ball, do you do like other workouts for that? What is kind of your go-to for like each, I guess, different area? Because everyone apparently only cares about how, especially on TikTok, they only care about how far you hit the ball, and speed training is the end all be all. So I should probably get on that.
Yeah, totally. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't train for speed at all. I actually train like a bodybuilder. So when I quit swimming, I kind of like stopped working out for a few months, and I kind of started going backwards. So like I went from being pretty broad, slim waist to be like more of a box. I was like, no, this is not good. So
nothing wrong with being boxy, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing wrong with it. Coming from personal experience,
box is fine too.
Yeah,
maybe not the best professional golf look, but nothing wrong.
When I was for 12 years, it's hard to like let myself go a little bit, just considering I was training 2 hours a day, and on training trips I'm training 4 hours a day. So it's just like a lot of time in the pool. and maybe, dryland stuff too, but whatever. Anyway, so I got into bodybuilding. So I started working out. Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing, but then I actually followed this guy. His name's on Instagram. His name's Grego Gallagher, and he does this. His whole thing is like 3 days a week. Don't need to train more than that. You can get like a great physique doing that. I didn't believe him. I followed him for like a year, and I was like, this guy's full of shit. And and then all of a sudden, I kept seeing his clientele results, and I was like, okay, there's something here. So let me try it. So I went from like training 5, 6 days a week, probably more like five, to training 3 days a week, and it's been almost 4 years. I've never looked back.
Mm.
Okay.
I mean, that's like kind of like the 4 hour I don't know if you ever like read all those books, like the 4 Hour Body, the 4 Hour Work Week. I forget who they're by, but it's a very similar thing. It's just like you don't need to do all.
More.
Yeah,
Right,
less is more.
And his whole thing is like you give your nervous system a break every day. I'm like, okay. And then honestly, I hopped right on one of his programs, and it was like at that point it was like $50. I was like, this is nothing. If it doesn't work, it's $50. And then I got it. And I just remember when I was a senior in college, I put my beginning of my junior year. So when I was a senior, I started like taking the whole thing a little bit more seriously. My strength went up like crazy in like the first semester. And now, in this whole thing is like to keep yourself lean. So it's like it's all training for a look. So like I'm training as a bodybuilder. I'm training to look good. That's my whole thing. So, but a byproduct of looking good, if you're trying to gain muscle, is strength. So like my strength went up. So now I can do pull-ups with like an extra, 100 pounds on me. I can do like 4 pull-ups like that. So I just trained to be really strong. And I think that's why I can hit the ball so far, is because I just got strong, like upper body wise.
Next time I'm down with you. I'll just grab on tight to you and see if we can do a pull up. And there goes Tim. Tim's been having, for ladies and gentlemen, for those
body workout program.
that would be the fullest of all body programs.
Right? He's like, I've heard what I need to hear. I got all my reps in. Now I got to go do it. That's totally.
Yeah, Tim was having some technical network connectivity issues, so that's probably what happened again. So he'll pop back in. That's okay. But and I think Braga, did you freeze too?
No.
This is unbelievable. There we go. We're back.
I didn't freeze. What the heck?
But Nick, I know so we're going off that. So no strength training, more of a bodybuild training. And you were saying that like you significantly saw your distance going farther. Is that, would you say like that's a much better training routine than say seeing the guys doing these types of, either not strength training, but speed training, everything like that?
Uh-oh. What just happened? What?
Am I freezing?
No, I heard you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we're good. Okay. This is gonna be great. We don't edit the podcast at all, so people are gonna we may just tell people like sprint through this like 30 seconds.
If people are like listening in their car, they're gonna think that their phone is freezing or something, and they're just gonna be like, "Why is it quiet?" They're gonna have to check their phone every time we stop talking. Psych.
Okay. Well, going off your question, Brendan, you said, is it like a good kind of workout? Was that it?
Yeah, so it was more along the lines of, instead of what we see now with speed training, you're saying weight training is definitely, has worked for you, and you think it would work for a lot of other people.
I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of the guys that do speed training, it works. I think if I did speed training, I would get even faster because it's there for, right? But at the same time, it's like, do I need, like, I'm not really focused on that. I'm trying to hit like every single green and make every single putt. So, I can already carry it. I can already carry the ball 300 yards. Why carry it 320 when my driver's already pretty straight? It's like, okay, I need to dial in my 8-iron, my 6-iron, and my wedges. Those are the scoring, right? So like I'm trying to score, and I really think that my potential's there, but my, me actually doing it has not been there as much as I want it to be. So I feel like the strength training or the speed training is going to come a little bit later, but I think, yeah, I would definitely get faster. But as far as like my workout program, I think it's perfect because it's every other day. It's 3 days a week. Most bodybuilders will train like 5 or 6, so you can commit to both. So like I commit to both. So I do 3 days a week, hour and 15 minutes each time. So it's like 4 hours of training a week. It's really not that much. And if you spread it out, fine. Like I typically do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but if there's an altercation where I have to do like, I have to do different days, it's okay because it's like, okay, I still, as long as I hit my 3 days a week, it's like it is what it is. You're getting your workouts in. So as long as you get all the reps in, I think it's good.
Now on days you're golfing, like in like a tournament or you're playing, like in some kind of competition, are you working out in the morning? Are you working out afterwards at all? Or are you just resting? Because it could be like the Tiger approach where he's a psycho and works out like more than anything in the morning, and then he's just to get himself primed and ready.
Yeah, I think I think most people get that wrong. Like I have worked out prior to like an event, but it just depends on my tea time, and if I have time to work out after, I will. If I don't, I will do it in the morning because it doesn't really like tire me out as long as I eat after and get like fueled up. I'm usually good to go. But if people are in their routine and stick to that routine no matter what the other circumstances are, it's not really going to affect them because they're already in the routine. I think it's going to affect you more if you tap out of that routine. Because like let's say you have 4 weeks in a row where you're in an event and you skip your every Friday workout, like you're only going to get weaker, right? Because you're not hitting that workout anymore. And you lose if you don't hit a certain muscle. Let's say you stop working out altogether. After 2 weeks, you lose your muscle, right? So maybe you give yourself 2 weeks off and then start working out again. But like, for me, when it comes to the bodybuilding and the working out, I've gotten myself so far. For me to skip one day is hard because it's like, now I have to make up that day next week and then I'm back on track. It's like you're 2 weeks behind. That's how I see it. So I do 3 days a week, which is easily manageable. And I probably missed less than 10 workouts in the last 5 years because I've just
Damn,
committed.
that's
Yeah, it's
awesome,
just
man.
3 days a week. Then I tell myself I have to go, no matter what, no matter how I feel.
That's discipline right there. Now, for the average listener just listening, who doesn't, go to the gym, what's one workout? It's going to be tough to narrow it down to one thing, but like, what's one workout that you think is the most beneficial that your average Joe could just do in their living room without any weights or anything like that? What do you think is like a motion or something they can get a few reps in, before they play that they could do in their living room?
Yeah. I think one of the best workouts is not, something that not everybody can do. I think it's the pull up. But if you can't do a pull up, then you can do a way where it could be assisted pull up. But like if you can't do that, do push ups. I think like certain heavy compound movements that if you can't do them with the gym and you can do them a variation at home, it's like do your best to do them. So for me, like you can do a pull up like on any bar or stairwell that you have, right? Although some people can't do a pull up. So if you can, like what I would do, it's hard to say like another back exercise that you can do at home. I don't really know because I'm not good with the back exercise. But if you get like a band, put it around a door and just like pull, I think that's just like that helps a lot for golf too. Like people don't really realize like you're pulling the club down. That's all a back movement, right? So if you get your back really strong, you can pull it down a lot harder. Like Bryson DeChambeau talks about like his lats, like he worked out his lats, and that pull motion as on top of like just getting stronger in general is really big help to just whip that club around.
Don't ever let anyone say the Duffin Up podcast doesn't work out. We got the bands right here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, pull-ups can confirm not everyone can do them. I cannot do a pull-up, but but we can stretch out with some bands. That's all that matters to me. No, but I mean, Nick, that's some of the most insightful information, especially when you see like there's not many, I would say, true like golf workout routines and stuff like that, unless you're a professional, but like you just don't go on because people don't really think of golf as like a big working out sport, or they didn't until literally Tiger, and now DJs kind of and Rory have kind of taken that taken that torch from him, and those are the guys that you always see like in the gym after. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, you just played a round of golf, like why are you in the gym? But it's like, well, they've also won 42 and 37 tournaments, so it probably works out. but I do think that it's really helpful for some people, especially even if they're a little bit older too, just to, loosen up a little bit, and it definitely can help you with your swing as well. And I think the back stuff is definitely important, because I've noticed when I do back workouts, you get stronger.
But yeah, definitely. It's just, and I'm a bodybuilder on top of that, so like it's just a better look too. And I think
Mm.
it's like one of the most underlooked muscles, is because like everyone wants the beach body, which is like the muscles you can see in the mirror, but no one thinks about like what's going on like behind you, right? Um, so like your back, your ass, your legs, like people neglect all that stuff as guys, let's say.
Mm. 100%. No, definitely agree with you there. I know, who would have thought the Duffin podcast would talk about working out so much. This is amazing. But what I do want to say is, you said that you do have the 3 days on, 3 days off kind of dirt, 3 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off during the week. Um, yeah. So when you're off, when you are not doing your workout routine during the day, what is, I mean, I'm sure you go to the course and work on, I'm sure you go to the course every day and work on stuff, but like, what is your kind of go-to when you are not working out? And then what are you doing? Do you kind of split it up, or do you have like, I'm doing this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday, this on Thursday? If I'm playing in a tournament the day before, I'm doing this. Do you have kind of your routine for what you're doing as well for, either tournament weeks or just regular practice weeks?
Yeah. So I would say that it really depends on how my game's doing, right? So I work on things that like I know I'm struggling with that week or that month. So like sometimes I'll go in a slump with my driver and I'll just pound a lot of drivers out on the range. Or I know if I can't chip, I'll spend like 2 hours this day on the chipping green. Or if my putter's struggling, I'll do that. But like I would say on the my typical day kind of consists of like I'll probably wake up in the morning and edit some videos, just because that's in the morning for me. It's really easy for me like focusing at some like real work done. Golf. I no matter what my day's looking like or how tired I am, I can always like get myself to the golf course, because like
Mm-hmm.
bottom line is what I love doing. And so I like to get certain things done. Besides, like the golf obviously comes first, but as far as like planning out my day, it comes second, because I know I'll get it done. But when the editing comes, it's like if I'm not in the headspace for it, I probably won't do it that day. And I have so much like footage that I still have to go through. I'm kind of like a little bit lazy and procrastinate. I procrastinate a lot with that. So I would say like a typical day, an ideal day, is me getting some like editing done or whatever, some footage, some emails, and then I'll kind of like, if it's a workout day, I'll go work out. If it's not a workout day, maybe I'll go to the course early or something like that. And if let's say it's a workout day, I might just go on the range for a while and practice. But if it's not a workout day, I might, do a full round or something like that. And I feel like you mentioned like more structure with like, Mondays putting, Tuesdays chipping, whatever. Feel like if I did do that, I think I would improve a little bit quicker. But as of now, I don't. But it's actually something I've been thinking about, kind of like scheduling, because like I schedule my workouts like on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's the exact same thing. I know exactly what I'm doing. And when I go to the golf course, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I kind of just do like what I want to do or what I know I need to work on.
Mm.
Now, do you
Once
have like
again, just right at the bottom, at Duffin Up, just tag us in all those. That's all that matters, baby. We're helping each other out. You're on the pod. We're giving you ideas. This is great. This is great. I think this has worked out much better than we ever thought it would. This is wonderful.
do you have a swing coach or like a trainer that you work with, or is this all just you? Can can you hear me?
Right now, you guys are frozen on my.
Wonderful.
Oh,
How about now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Brian was asking, do
I
you
heard
have
you.
do you use a swing coach, or do you have a do you have a swing coach and trainer, or are you just kind of working with yourself right now? What's going on that side?
Yeah, so I guess we'll get into like all the golf side of things. So
Hmm.
when I started my social media, the whole reason behind it, obviously, I wanted to put myself out there, but the whole reason was I saw all these other influencers making money doing just whatever they wanted. So I was like, I'm going to use this to fund my golf, right? So now it's kind of starting to come to fruition. So my next steps as far as a swim coach, like I don't have one yet, but I want to like find one that I really like and be comfortable paying him whatever it takes to get me to the next level. And then same thing goes for tournaments. Like, tournaments, you're on the road. Some tournaments are like $800 to get in. You miss the cut, you don't get anything, and then you pay for the hotel and everything for nothing. So it's like, what, something has to change in my life that gives me the time to do that and the money to do that. So that's kind of why I started doing this. And so to answer your question, no, I don't have any swim coach. I don't have any trainers at the moment. I do everything on my own. But again, like, I practice enough for my game to feel good. And if my game's feeling good, then every other aspect of my life is probably good, because if I'm comfortable with my game, then it just puts me in a better mood to just get everything else and take care of it all.
Wow. Raw dog in the game of golf. Good for you. I love it. Just by yourself. That's a dangerous road to go on for most, but I like the way you do it. Tell us about like your history, your tournament history. What was your first step into being like, all right, I want to be a professional golfer? Did you just start entering tournaments? Explain this process a little bit for anyone who is on the cusp of becoming a pro, not any of us, but for anyone possibly interested.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start back in kind of in high school, when I started to get pretty good, when I realized I started to get pretty good. So, my my freshman, sophomore, junior year, I was okay at best, but I was still like, our school was okay. So I started getting better, in my junior year. I had some rounds in, high 70s. I didn't really get in tournament rounds in the mid 70s. So going into my senior year, I was like, for my college, I was like, hey, can I walk on the team? Because I know their team's like not very good, although they're D1. And he was like, right now I feel like if you can get some scores at like 75 or better, just so I know you can do it, and then we can tune up your game and get you to the consistency where you're doing that more often. I said, okay, done. So a year later, going into my college freshman year, I was like, that summer, that's when I got good. That's when I had a round, I had multiple rounds, 75 and under. My tournament average for like 12 rounds that summer was a 76, which was better than, I think, my best score from the previous year. So my whole average got better than my best score
Wow.
in one. So, and then why that happened is because I kind of finagled a way to work at a golf course the like last, I think it's last 6 weeks of high school, because they do this like internship program where you can finagle an internship. You can go to the internship full time instead of going to school full time. So after the AP exams and stuff, it's called Aspire. You do this Aspire program. So I made a way to do it at the course I caddied at the time, work like under the head pro, and be like, hey, can I come? I'll work whatever days you're open. So they don't have, the course open on Monday. So I was like, instead of 6 hours a day, I'll do 7.5 hours a day from Tuesday to Friday. And it ended up just being, I thought I was going to shadow him and whatever. It ended up just me being able to practice and play all day. So I
Wow.
helped out the master for an hour and a half in the morning to help set up. And then I just hit on the range for like 3 hours a day. Sometimes I played 36 holes just because I was there and I had to be there. And I was like, I'm just going to play all day. And then that's when I got really consistent. I stopped making mistakes. I didn't necessarily get good at the short game because I was on the range a lot, but I started getting really consistent, and I didn't lose balls off the tee as much. I started hitting like 14, 15 greens in regulation, just because that's what I was just pounding golf balls. Um, and that's how that's when I realized, like, I can do this. I can compete with these guys. Like, I stopped getting as nervous for tournaments and stuff. So that's when I realized, I was like, okay, like, this could be something. Although then, I kind of took a break the next, 5 years, because I kind of, the storyline goes like this. I did that. I went to college. The walk on tryout didn't work out. He kind of ghosted me. So I went on the swim team. So I swam for 2 years because I was like, it was tough for me to meet people in college in the beginning. Met the swim team. It was great. 2 years go by. The golf team gets a new coach, and then I decided to quit the swim team. So then I was like, okay, let me get a walk on tryout. So, at this point, it was like me going to school 9 months, and then every summer, 3 or 4 months, I'm like trying to get my game back to where it was. But again, it's just difficult. And so I go to this walk on tryout, and he didn't even let me know I was gonna get it. He let me know the day before, I want you to come tomorrow. So I had to skip a class to go to this golf tryout, and it ended up being me, their captain, and a freshman who was also trying out. So it's me, a junior, him, a freshman. And we played 14 holes just because it just happens to like finish at the clubhouse, that 14th green. And I ended up shooting even par, beating their captain by 6 shots, who he said at the time was like their number one or two um, golfer on the team. And I was like, okay, well, there's no way the coach is not going to talk to me. And then I sent him my course schedule, and then he ghosted me too. So I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then, so there was like a time for a week where I just waited outside his office demanding to talk to him. And then I was like, why didn't you answer? Like, I was so annoyed. It's like, you should have at least emailed me back. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, honestly, would you have taken me on the team if I could have made it work? He's like, can't say that, but he did tell me you can play. I was like, cool. That doesn't help me. So then, I ended up going to Australia. And then when I was in Australia, I realized that I had such a great time there because it was 5 months in a different country, and I was like, I'll never be able to do this again if I get like a normal job. This is it. I can only come here for like month max, like seriously. So then that's when I started going the social media route and trying to find ways to make money online, and that's when my whole journey started. This was 5 years ago, and then the following year I started like my own Instagram account. It started, a bunch of different things, and then it's led to like online businesses and all this and that, and doing content for other people. And then last year, I've only been doing content for myself for a little less than a year now. Last year is when I started posting golf stuff consistently, and then this is the only time in my life where I feel like there's some real momentum with everything. So that's how it all started. And I was like, okay, now I want to get back into tournaments. So going to the tournaments and stuff, I lived in California for 2 years after I graduated college. I played 2 tournaments there, and then coming back, like last year in Florida, I played 2 minor league events, and I haven't played any this year. And it's honestly just the finances at this point. And I really want to get a coach and feel like I want my game to be comfortable, because I know I'm going to be nervous. But if my game's comfortable, it's like, okay, maybe I can get out of that. But my game, I don't really feel like is comfortable yet to where I feel like I can invest in the tournament to really feel like I can make money out of it. So that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
Yeah, definitely wanted to talk to you about kind of obviously what you said about mini tours there. It's expensive. We hear all the time about people paying the $800 fee, the $400 fee, finishing in second place, not getting paid for 3 months. Like, have you noticed, and maybe it's not even your own area, but like when you're going to these events and talking to other professionals, or you playing in it too, and have you noticed like the absolute grind that it is, and like kind of areas where it shouldn't really be that difficult, but somehow it's, you see guys living out of cars for, 3-4 months at a time and just going to different places and trying to save money wherever they can. How is that when you're in that mindset of kind of going that same route? What do you think are kind of some areas where, a lot of these mini tour events could improve upon?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, there's also like this whole world that I'm just discovering. I feel like every time I talk to somebody who's like been down that professional road has something new to tell me. So I kind of got into this thinking I knew a lot, and I don't know anything. Like, first example is I've never been fitted for a set of clubs ever.
What?
Yeah.
But you're way better.
Dude, you're going to shave. I mean, you might as well
maybe
sign up for the Corn Ferry Tour Championship right now.
Maybe
Once
you don't
you
have
get
to practice so much or work out. You just get fitted. You'll be
Oh
good.
my, oh,
Honestly, I feel like I've just been so good at just adapting to what I have, because that's all I've been known how to do my whole life. It's just like you have what you have, and you're either going to make it work or you're just not. So like that's just kind of what I did with golf. So I got, my set of TaylorMades. Um, they're not even the right type of club for me. That I just found out. I was just at the PGA show. I shouldn't be hitting those clubs, number one, because they're too cooked for me. Number two, I did a little bit of research on my own about like which shafts I should be putting in, and I only got them because the head pro of my old job got me a huge fucking deal. So instead of paying $3,500, I got them for like $2,000. That's the only reason why I got them.
wow.
And
I
that was
mean,
3 years ago. So now I'm in the process of like trying to get a club deal, but
mhm.
also getting fitted for that as well. But at the same time, they're signing like people with bigger followings. It's a process. I've been trying for.
Yeah, I did notice, especially like there's a lot of companies, and I mean, I made those videos of being like, for the love of God, please sponsor Duffin up. like, please, after like Bob Does Sports got the Callaway deal, I was like, someone just give us a deal. And lo and behold, we got a golf ball deal. I mean, it's not really a golf ball deal. we love Odin Golf. Shout out Odin Golf. But anyways, I could definitely see that too, where it's just like, you know, you get so used to hitting the clubs, you don't even think about it. But I was the same way, where I went in when I got like my first set of fitted, not my first set of fitted clubs, but when I got fit, I was like, I'm going to be a TaylorMade guy. I'm going to be a TaylorMade guy. And I get there and I hit the TaylorMades, and the guy's like, why don't you hit these Callaways for you real quick and try them? And I was like, oh, I'm hitting these so much. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you see the interesting stuff, and he like helped me out with like my lie and my loft angle and everything like that too. So, I mean, I'm just calling it right now. Like we're in superstar mode as soon as we get that club fitting going. But I was going to say too, with the brand deals, obviously, you know, very big Instagram, you know, I think you have 35,000 on Instagram. I think you're up to, geez, I don't even know on TikTok right now. I'm going to be completely honest. I think it was 90,000 the last time I looked. I'm sure you got the numbers and everything ready to go. But how has it been like trying to work? Cause I know it's like, it's one of those things where you'll see some people who are not as big try and get these deals and they'll end up like doing it. But like, what is that side of the business where it's like, you know, you're not just a golfer, but you're also kind of marketing yourself to all of these different brands too?
Yeah. No, totally. Literally went to the PGA show, and I have it right here actually. So I have this thing called a dot card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this is, but instead of like giving a business card to somebody, I'll tap the phone, and then it'll give all my information. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, phone number, email, whatever. You can add like, you know, your PayPal and your Venmo too, if you can add so many things. So I was like, people are gonna lose my business card. I'll bring the dot card. So the whole reason for me going to the PGA show was like, I went to all the brands that I thought I would like, and I was like, hey, do you do influencer marketing? And then I was like, oh well, let me talk a little bit about myself. And then I was like, I brought up my Instagram, which is starting to pop off. And then I brought up my TikTok, and I know Instagram is like the platform. Like you can make a lot more money on Instagram than TikTok, which is why I started posting on Instagram. Like I could probably make 5, 6x per sponsored post on Instagram, because you can tag their brands and shops directly into their thing. And it's just like the line of fire, you're eliminating so much line of fire before their, you know, checkout, that brands are willing to pay for that. So when it comes to like the branding side, it's very difficult to, because like I I don't know how many videos I've looked up where it's like, how much do I charge? How much do I charge for? But like a lot of people don't really know because there's no set amount, and a lot of people kind of lead you in the wrong direction, because it's not about followers. It's about like your average view count. You have to think about it in the brand's perspective. It's like, if you have, you know, if you have 100,000 followers, but your average views are like 10,000 views, versus somebody else who has 20,000 followers, but his average views for 30,000 views, I'd rather pay that guy more money. And, you know, I have a better chance at a sale for my brand. So then I started looking into views, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's funny, I just saw this woman on TikTok who was like, I only have 80K on Instagram, and I have my own business, and I've made over 200,000 last year. I was like, what? So then I look up her stuff. I ended up getting a consulting meeting with her, and I paid a lot of money for like a 30-minute meeting, and she basically told me that like I'm charging 10x less. I should be charging 10x of what I'm charging. 10x. And it just like, I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
Slow down. Yeah.
Wow.
Per like reel. So basically, you know, like if I land a few more clients with the way she said I should price my stuff out, money won't be a problem anymore.
Do you know
So
how many fittings we could get you with 10x? Like you would have all the clubs. Like we could get you like like gold plated Muras. Like it would be unbelievable with that. But I do feel like, I mean, everyone knows that you know, luckily we're probably not going to post this to TikTok, at least this part of it, but the TikTok creator fund's a scam. I know, so I've heard so many stories about that, where like I was talking with Nick about it, and he's like, I've been in it for Fat Shops, and he's like, I've been in it for a year and I've made $5. And I'm like, oh,
I made
that's
like,
yeah. I think Chris Mulligan plus 3 putt, I feel like he's the only person I've ever talked to that has had like legitimate semi success within like the creator fund and making a couple a couple hundred or more than a couple $100. But he also, he's an absolute like he's an absolute genius. Like I cannot believe what he does with that thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All he does is just people say you suck at golf, and then he posts a video of him sucking at golf, and it gets like 300,000 likes, and I'm like, you are an absolute genius. Meanwhile, you post the video. Now I've noticed you've been kind of posting back, and people are just like, trying to be mean to you, and then it's just like, oh, birdie, like, here you go, 315-yard drive right down the center, nice little into within 10 feet, make the birdie putt. Keep chirping. I love those. I love when you do that stuff too. It's hilarious.
Every once in a while, you got to show them why, And it doesn't really bother me, but sometimes like I have a good video or a good hole, and I remember that comment. Like I don't look at the comment and be like, I'm gonna get you. It's more like I have a hole and I think about the previous comment that I remembered reading, and I'm like, oh, this would be perfect for that video.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, but and kind of going along with that line of brand deals. I know you mentioned it, but it's like obviously everyone has kind of their prefer, like exactly what you said. You went around and you had like some preferred brands that you wanted to talk to and you wanted to engage with. Were there any that, especially at the PGA show, which I feel like is like Christmas for like golfers? Like I wish sooner or later we're going to try and get down there, but I feel like that place is just amazing. Were there any that kind of just like either had very good setups that you wanted to, and you were just like, oh, I want to go talk to them, or it's just like you kind of knew them from the past and they just, they reached out to you on the floor or anything like that?
Yeah, so there was a lot of really cool brands, a lot of brands that I didn't, like I don't know how many brands there were, but there were so many brands that I didn't expect to see as far as like their creativity and how they promote themselves. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So a lot of brands, I just talked to them about it, and then I kind of like, without the intention of being like, I'm going to promote you, it was more like I'm interested, and then let me see if they would even do that anyway. And also for the listeners at home, if anyone is doing a social media thing and you're trying to get, let's say you get 10,000 followers and you want to start getting brand deals, what I've also realized too is if you have good views, go for the bigger brands, because you think the smaller brands are going to want to promote a smaller creator. The smaller brands don't have the money to pay you. They don't. So the money that I'm getting paid through a few brands, they are not a super small brand. They're making a decent amount of money, and the bigger company that you promote that's willing to like work with you, the more money they're going to pay you. And it's so backwards to what you would think. And it took me a while to realize that, because like I have trouble sometimes, like for example, my Instagram, the last 15 videos I've posted, I've gotten over 100,000 on average per video. Some with like a lot more than 100,000, a lot with like around 50,000, whatever. And I have trouble getting some brands to pay me like, $200. Like they say no when I ask them that. But then, like other brands, like I ask for more than that and they're like more than willing. So it's very backwards as to what you would think, but it's all about like finding, like, don't take your value down as far as like pricing. Just find a different brand, because there's like 1,000 brands out there. And then going back to the PGA show, like two brands or two people reached out to me to promote like their brand through my social media, and we kind of met there on the floor. And then most of the brands that I reached out to kind of like went nowhere, because I'm just sort of a random guy coming up to them. But one, like I really tried to target the golf clubs first, like every, Ping, Callaway, not PXG, that they weren't there. Ping, Callaway, Mizuno, Cobra. I really targeted Mizuno and Cobra because they just lost a couple of guys. They lost to TaylorMade. They lost, and then Mizuno lost Grant and Garrett to Callaway and TaylorMade. So I was like, okay, Mizuno or Cobra, there's some spots open. And I tried out that new Cobra driver, and I was spanking it on the range. Like I was hitting the toe. So there was a video on Instagram I posted. I hit 185 miles an hour at ball speed, and I really didn't feel like I was over swinging. And I was hitting him on the toe a little bit too, and I was still getting almost 180-mile-an-hour ball speed. And I was like, whoa, like this is forgiving. And it also had like an upgraded shaft, that the shaft I'm actually supposed to have, not the shaft I have currently. It was actually fitted for me for that like test run, but it was still like that thing was something different. It was
Wow.
something.
That's awesome, man. That's unbelievable. Yeah, I was obviously getting into it, but like it's really interesting when you see the brands. So like like Mizuno, I feel like makes some of the best irons and wedges like in the game. I know their drivers are a little, not seen as important, but like I have a TaylorMade driver and I love it. I'm not the biggest fan of the TaylorMade irons. I know some people are. I feel like TaylorMade is slowly but surely turning into this PXG cult of personality, and I don't like it. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know how I feel about that. And then, of course, Ping is the last front. They are the old school. Golf is still in the 1980s. Like, we will sponsor the number 200 guy on the PGA Tour before we give a cent to any of the influencers. Like, I feel like they have that kind of mindset. They do have a Tiana, the trick shot artist. I know that, but I feel like Cobra's come along a lot way too. Like Cobra, I always knew for the drivers, but I feel like their irons are getting better and better by the year as well.
Oh yeah, I tried out the I don't know what iron it's called, but the one that Ricky Fowler is starting to use or just started using, and I loved it, man. So like as far as the clubs that I want, if let's say I don't get, a club deal with like let's say Cobra or Mizuno, I think my ideal bag looks like the Cobra driver, maybe some Mizuno irons or those Cobra irons. And I don't have any idea what putter would be. It's never gotten a putter fitting either. Um, but and then maybe some like Titleist wedges or even those Mizuno wedges. Like that, a mix of Cobra and Mizuno for me right now, I think would be like really sweet.
What are your thoughts on Cleveland wedges?
Never tried them.
They're the greatest wedge in the world. Go try them. By far and away, especially for lefties. Jake Hutt, he sings raps about it. He sings raps about how good their wedges are. So you know it's good. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if that's a good barometer.
It's a great barometer, Brian. It's a great barometer.
But aside from clubs, like what was like the coolest technology or new product that you saw at this thing? That you
So
were
there
just
was
like, wow, I want that, or that's really really new and innovative.
Except
Yeah.
for the 4x4 golf carts that can go like up mountains, which I saw and I was like, those are more than cars. And yes, I want them, but I will not be purchasing them.
Oh, yeah, there was some golf carts. They were like Teslas. They had the screens on them, and I was like, "What the? This is too much." Um, but there was a brand. So a cup like this, right? So I have a Yeti. There was a brand that they made water bottles like this, but on the bottom they had like this twist off thing that was like a light around it, and it was also a speaker. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And it's called Vibe for anyone. I guess I'm giving a free promotion, but it was just really cool. And I reached out to them, like trying to work with them. Something might happen, something might not. We'll see. I'm just kind of in the works, but um, and then there was another brand, and it was like a watch. So you wear this watch, and it basically tells you how many inches your backswing is, and then it comes down. So like a backswing, it's like okay, try to hit 37 inches on your backswing. Like for you, it's like it's easier with a clock, right? You go like 3/4, or like you go till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. But for this, it like does inches, and it'll tell you like how close you were to your target or whatever, and it'll keep track of like your swings and consistency. And I thought that was pretty cool because I felt like 90 yards and in for me, I'm probably going to use my 60 degree, right? So if I feel, because like for me, if I want to hit a 60-yard shot, instead of swinging fully, which is 90-yard shot, I'm going to swing to here. That's a 60. That's about a 60-yard shot for me, or like right there. So if I can feel that like through, the watch, and the watch can help me dial in like the 60-yard shot, the 65-yard shot, the 70-yard shot. I thought that was really cool because I think that's, something that is neglected, like those 100-yard shots and in. Nobody knows how to hit their 70-yard shot. They're so used to hitting their 100-yard shot, and they swing the club the same, or they swing the club slower. It's like, no, you don't want to swing slower. You want to have a smaller swing. It's like, no, don't swing slow, because then you're gonna decel and you're gonna duff it, and you're gonna be pissed that you hit a 350-yard drive and you fucked it up. That's what's gonna happen.
Man, definite. Sounds like a tough thing for golf, but sounds like a great podcast name. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I can imagine, especially on that side, like having those training aids. I feel like those are the companies that always get like maybe not the most exposure at events like that, but there's some really cool, like awesome tech that have those training aids, and you don't look like a silly guy out there with all the little pool noodles, going like that when you're training. You're just doing the regular stuff instead. So that's awesome. I never even thought about that. That's really, really that. I mean, that would help everyone's game. Hopefully they give you a watch at least. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, no, that brand was really cool. I reached out to them too. We'll see if something happens with that. But yeah, I got like 40 business cards, and I tried to just reach out to everybody. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
That's the life, man. That's the life of the pro golfer, and then also the I feel like the especially on the influencer side, like that's huge that you're kind of going through everything on that side too, and making it your own way too, because I know there's a bunch of management companies and everything like that, but I know they take like enormous percentages. I think I've reached out to a couple of them just to try and get like podcast guests on, and they were like, I look at like their rates, and it's just like, wow, like this is how much. I mean, you're barely even getting paid at this point. Like they're
Is
but
that
they
is
do
that
the
what
groundwork. But
sparked the whole LLC conversation? Is it looking at these different management companies?
yes. Also a part of Duffin Up LLC if we ever get there. So that way, we don't get tax frauded, but we
Yeah.
can pay for our country club through an LLC. We can pay for our memberships through an LLC. It'd be great. And I just, announced tax fraud on a podcast. So probably got to come up with a different idea now.
So people charge to be on a podcast? I didn't even know they did that.
Some like very, very like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
reached
Well,
out. There's some there's a couple people here and there that asked for money on that side, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would have felt like being on a podcast is like you either want to be on it or you don't.
That's what I
Right.
thought too. That's what I thought. I was like, I know
Yeah.
we're small. You can just say no. Like
This
we've had
isn't Jimmy
plenty of
Kimmel.
people that said no.
Yeah.
If we get one more follower because of you, and if you get one more follower because of us, it's a win-win. I mean, that's all just brand promotion, both sides. It's kind of like
100%.
yeah.
I don't know if you're going to get any extra followers because I feel like everyone who follows us already follows you. But if you do, you know who to come to.
Yeah, you might lose followers. Actually,
You may lose followers. then Nick will charge us. He'll be like, I lost 300 followers. You owe me $100. I'm like, shit.
I'm gonna send you an invoice later.
We'll send you a vibe cup.
Vibe cup with an invoice inside.
Oh God, we got a gift. No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Not the vibe we're looking for. That's for sure.
I got a question for you. So you're right on the cusp of pro golfers, influencers. You play a lot of golf is basically what it comes down to. We're weekend warriors, playing during the week time to time. We have 0 hole-in-ones. Please tell me you have one.
I have one.
You have one?
Yes. That's all that matters. We're going to get there one day.
Tell the story.
Break it down.
It's actually a great story. I'm glad you asked me this question. So I was living in California at the time. So basically, I graduated college. I got a job right out of school, and I quit it after 6 months because it was just terrible. Moved to California. So I'm in California. I don't know how long I've been there, but I flew to Tampa to watch my brother swim for his final swim meet. So I flew in a few days early to just play golf, screw around. My dad was coming to meet me the following day. He was there a little early too. And I was like, okay, so I had time to kill before check-in because I had to take a red-eye flight. So I got on the plane, I don't know when, but I barely slept throughout the flight. I landed at 6 in the morning. And then I was like, okay, I got a lot of time before check-in. So there was a golf course 10 minutes away from the airport. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to show up.
No!
Yeah, so I had 10 minutes away. I show up, no tee time. I put my golf bag on one side and my golf travel bag on the other side of the golf cart. And I didn't even put my golf shoes on. I just kind of got up and went. And So I'm playing by myself, but 6 holes later, I run into these group of guys and they like wave me up, like, "Hey, come on." I was like, "All right, cool." So they're all, and this is the par three, right? So they're all standing, like they're all hit their shots, they're about to putt, but they wave me up because they see I'm by myself. So they all wave me up and they're all standing, circling the hole, right? And
Oh
this
my God.
hole was a 145 par three. It was like if you're short of the green, you're in the water, and if you're long and right, you're fine. So like it's just kind of like a short and left, you're in the water. So I hit this pitching wedge, and it was like right at it. I was like, holy crap, like this is pretty good. And then it lands past the hole. I was like, okay, well, it was a good shot. Thank God it happened in front of these guys. But I thought it was like, 8, 10 feet away. I was like, it's not 2 feet away. It's not anything. It's crazy good. So then I go down, I pick up my tee, I look back up, and all of a sudden it drops and their hands go up. And I'm like, oh my God, no way. I was speechless. I did not expect that. And then I start like running around because they all like don't know, they don't think I know what's going on. And I'm just like, I'm like, holy, I don't even know what I did. I just drove in the cart and I got my phone out. I turn on Snapchat, and then as I'm walking to the green, I'm like, hey guys, first hole in one. I actually think I posted that video on TikTok. I'm gonna repost it soon to Instagram. Uh, and I was like, holy crap. So they took a picture of me. I got it out of the hole. They took a picture of me up by the flag. And I was like, guys, thank you. This really happened. Like, I didn't pay you or whatever. And it was crazy. I FaceTimed my brother and my dad right after that. You can't make a hole-in-one story like that up. You didn't sleep. You're in sneakers.
I feel like that's when it's gonna happen for us, is just like, I mean, when you're least expecting it, or you're least prepared, or you're like least inspired to be out there, because it's like Tim always does it, and I curse him every time we're on a par three. He's like, chance for a hole in one here, and like it gets in your head every freaking time, and
Yeah.
or we're going into the round and he's like, there's 6 par 3s in this course, so that's 6 hole-in-one chances. I'm like, Tim, shut the fuck up.
Stop it, Tim. Stop it.
We know. Don't remind us. We're trying to, don't talk about the no hitter or the no hole-in-oneer. It's just kind of funny, but that's an amazing story. I love the image of them, like, because they were like, come on in, just add a chance, and then you just hole it. It's like as if they were like, come on into the hole, like just go for it. That's insane.
Yeah. Just imagine if it was 5 minutes later too, and they had already cleared the green and you get the hole in one, where it's just like, I got a hole in one, but no one, you know what I mean? It's always that side where it's like, I have witnesses. They believe me. Like I think, and we have our other 4 ending questions, but which is worse, hole in one and no one sees it, or you go in the water, you go to the drop zone, which is, and it goes in.
Oh, goes in from the drop zone.
Yep.
So like a par that could have been.
It's a par that could have been a hole in one.
What's worse? I think probably the hole in one without anyone seeing it.
Gotta agree. Gotta 100% agree on that.
It's tough. It's tough because if you make that hole in one by yourself, that hole in one is just for you. I would not tell a soul. I could have a hole in one and just, none of you guys would know it. But
That is true.
But I would not tell a soul.
That'd be a weird thing to keep.
If it's on video though, that's the one thing. And that's the part where I need to bring out that need to bring out the eye range and start videoing myself on every par 3 from now on. And I will, because just in case I'm playing by myself and I make one, we got video evidence.
That's right.
That's so sad of an image though. Going back to, you had like your travel bag on the other side. It's like it's like a kid at his own birthday party with no friends there. It's just a substitute fill in that it was just you in the cart. It's so funny.
Well, that was dark, Brian.
That was hilarious, and I think I even had my backpack like in the back thing.
You're trying to make it look like you have someone who you're with.
There came off the street. I'm like, hey, can I just throw this on my car too? And then it was dead. The course was dead. So I didn't care.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
You guys have to hear that story. This is that story. Me listening to that story from my perspective. So we got Nick. He's setting up this great story. He's like, I'm glad you asked about this hole in one. We got a red eye. I haven't slept. And he's like, we have a layover or whatever. I have until check-in, I have a few hours. But wait, there's a golf course 10 minutes away. My computer shuts down. And I'm like,
Mhm.
son of a bitch. I'm screaming. The dog's going nuts. And I'm like just running around. I'm like, all right, maybe I can open this back up and get right back into the story. So I open up Zoom. I open it up and it's like installing updates. So it's like creaking along the freaking screen. And then I come back and you guys are like, no way. And then so I didn't even get the middle part of the story. I can't wait to go back and listen to the
Yeah,
story.
you get it's all recorded. You can
It's
listen
all
to it.
recorded, Timbo. It's
I'm
all
going-
record. Like we said, we're gonna sue Cox Cable. We're suing Cox Cable. So we're getting you. We're gonna get you a big piece of Cox Cable. So that's good.
You want to know a funny part about that story too? So, how you get a hole in one, you got to buy everyone beers, right? So I went in, I bought 4 beers for those guys, and then I drove them out to them because, like, obviously I finished way before them because I passed them on hole 6. I was flying, and so they were probably on. By the time I finished, I passed them and finished. They were probably on hole 13 or 14 maybe. And I drove the beers out. I drove back to put all my stuff away, and my rangefinder fell out of the cart when I was giving them the beer after the round was done. Because I had it on 18, I was like sure of it. So I retraced all my steps, retraced my path back to them. Gone.
No.
One high to a low didn't ruin my day, but it didn't make the hole in one didn't like make my day after that. You know what I mean? So
That
like
is such a no good deed goes unpunished right there. That's brutal.
That's a sacrifice to the golf gods right there. You just paid homage to them. But
yeah, I realize it is what it is at that point.
do you still have the golf ball? The golf ball that you hold out with?
Yeah. No, I bought on Amazon. I bought like a hole in one plaque that was like
Oh, perfect.
overpriced, but I bought it. It was like $70. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get another one, so I might as well.
Absolutely.
It's funny because I feel like our fourth host, Mike, he probably he's not. I feel like if he got a hole in one, he'd be playing with that ball like.
Oh, 100%.
And you know he's going to be hitting it in the water because he never has balls, honestly, to begin with. That's not the reason, but that is probably going to be a big reason. That's the only ball he has. But
we literally did a golf ball deal for the sole fact that Mike Adams will now have adequate amount of golf balls in his bag.
He won't.
No, he won't. He'll forget to order them again. Oh, it's funny. All right, Tim, you want to go with our last few ending questions?
Sure do. Brian has a request not to ask any food questions, so we will not be asking any food questions. Apparently, he is not a fan of them. But I want you to take a look in your backyard there, Nick. I want you, if you have a backyard, I have no idea. I don't know where you live or the configuration of your yard. But look in your backyard. I want you to imagine there's a golf hole here. That golf hole is going to be a golf hole that you've either played or you've seen on TV. Maybe your favorite golf hole, the coolest golf hole you've ever seen or played. You can play it over and over again in your backyard. Which golf hole do you want?
Oh, that's a good one. One golf hole, huh?
It comes with all the scenery. If it's a hole with a beautiful scenery or something like that, it comes with that as well.
So you're basically saying which hole would I play over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
You could walk outside. It's in your backyard. Exactly.
Okay. Well, it had to be a par 5
Love it.
because those are the most exciting. Par 4s are like generic.
Mm-hmm.
Par 3s are hard. So, par 5. Which par 5 would it be? I would say there's this course at the club I work at, or I worked at, and one of these holes are it's a 540 par 5, and basically it dog legs both ways. So from the tee, you have more room to the left to miss, but you have to hit it up and around these trees.
Wow.
And it goes like right to left and then left to right by the green. But what's cool about this hole is that, like, you have woods on the left, hazard on the left on the tee shot. You have high fescue on the right, and then there's like a bunker. But like for certain, for me, I can carry the bunker with the driver. But if you carry the bunker and go a little bit right of it, you're in the fescue. So like, you have to be pretty tight on the tee shot. And then if you're right side of the fairway, you have trees blocking you. You can't go with the green too. So you have to like hit the left side of the fairway on the drive, have a shot at the green too, or you hit a massive slice, and that's something I can't do. So it's more like I think that shot would help me dial in my fades because I've hit more fades, and it would help me dial in like targeting my driver, not just to hit the fairway, but hit the side of the fairway that I want to hit it on.
I love it. Like it's a hole you want to conquer, but it's difficult to conquer. It makes
Exactly. It would help my patience for when I do miss the green or miss the fairway in the spot I can't miss it in and not go for it and lay up because like I have a lot of trouble doing that. I like to hit the impossible shot when meanwhile most of the time it just makes me look like an idiot.
Tin Cup.
Okay, there's a whole nother golf podcast just about that shot and that you don't lay up. So there's a whole nother one that agrees with you there. We're not good enough to not lay up. So we're laying up a lot. But that usually happens.
What's it like being able to hit the ball where you want to hit the ball or shot shape the ball? Like I'm an A to B. I'm just trying to hit it straight the whole time for the most part. Like it must be just like really cool to be able to do that. I guess it's more of a rhetorical question, but it's just kind of it's like that's just a really good golfer. That's what separates the good from the okay is just actually being able to curve it around a dog leg on purpose. Mine only curves on accident.
I mean, it's just like for me, it's always been the most satisfying thing that I could ever find, right? So I got like obsessed with that satisfaction, and until I can do that every single shot, it's just like there's no way I'm not gonna, work towards that. That's kind of like my mindset. I think that's any good golfer's mindset is like they're so satisfied, they're obsessed with that satisfaction to the point where they only want that and nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. That's some deep golf stuff right there. I 100% agree with you on that side.
I want to play golf so bad right now. What the hell?
Yep.
I
And it's
just
gonna be negative degrees this weekend.
I just
Very
downloaded
excited.
the Oculus Golf Plus had a combo pack for $30. It was Pinehurst number 2. It was Wolf Creek. It was Pebble Beach, and I forget what the other one was, but I'm cannot wait to play like an actual course after this, like just out in my living room. Not to brag.
That's New England golf, baby.
Yeah, right.
In the living room. Wolf Creek. Wow. I just started watching Busted Jack. I don't know if you guys are.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're doing this golf in a little glory thing. They just played Wolf Creek. Wow. Big fan of them. They're chill. I don't know if
Busted Jack, if you listen to the podcast, we reached out to you about Rhode Island and Massachusetts. So, just shoot us an email back. It's okay. Wait. They'll probably get like Billy Andrade or a former PGA professional to play with them, but figured we might as well try.
Hey,
Bailey was on there for North Carolina. So Quiet Wave was on there.
I think Bailey went to Alabama.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he went to. There's like a trail or something there, like a golf trail.
RTJ Trail, yeah.
Right there.
That's sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Busta and Jack, if those are your real names, which what Jack's real name is Jack. But anyways, let us know. Tim, we got one more, right?
Yeah, Nick, you're stranded on an island. You don't know how long you're going to be on this island. Let's say you're on this island for at least 1 year. You have unlimited golf balls. I don't know what golf balls you play, but you have unlimited Odin golf balls. We're plugging it. And you have unlimited. Yeah. You have unlimited golf balls on this island. You can hit as many as you want, but you can only bring one club. Which club are you going to bring?
Only hit one club. My 2-iron.
Wow.
That's the second 2-iron we've gotten. That is the second 2-iron. I like it. I like it a lot.
Long iron. Nothing better than hitting a long iron.
Yeah, that's the club I'll consistently flight low. Therefore, I feel like I have at least off the tee. So like that's the only club I'll try to hit it lower. So because I mess with the flight on that club only mostly, hit that one. I like to hit the stinger.
Dial it in. That way, if you have a tight fairway, you can just knock that 2-iron out there. Boom.
Let it run up there, baby.
Oh, man. I wish I could do that. knowing me, I'd end up slicing the ever living daylights out of that thing. So I'm happy I don't. Oh man. Well,
shit.
Mr. Delfico, we very, very much appreciate your time tonight. Thanks again, man. This was an absolute blast. If anyone does not follow him, please go follow him on all of his socials.
Cool.
At Nick. I'm trying to get it up right now. I think it's at Nick_Delfico, right? Or is it just
that's it for everything. So Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube is a big focus this year for me. So check out my YouTube channel as well.
do it up, everyone. You heard him. Nick, thanks again, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.